Good morning, East Texas. It's time to rise and shine with the sun. The Grand Saline sun. Right here on BZTV. Grab your coffee and come join the fun.
Welcome back on this Friday. We're here wrapping up this week. I don't know if you hear the little jive music in the background, but what I love is Corbin had a little segment where the airplane comes in and the wheels hit the tarmac and you hear it go burp, burp, and all that good stuff. Well, we're right there at the burp, burp at the end of this week as the rubber meets the road. We're ready to wind her down and bring her back in. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has been one heck of a week. Again, if you're watching on Facebook, we appreciate always appreciate you following on Facebook. If it crashes, go over to the VZTV app. It is free on every single cell phone, Roku, Amazon Fire. We never have a dependable hookup on the Facebook app. So if y'all are on there and you're see it die or whatever, go over to the app. That's just the best place to do it. Corbin's giving me the thumbs up. Looks like everything's going on. So, you know, we canceled the show yesterday because a lot of things sort of needed to be done. And then John Ring, our normal guest on Thursdays, I love my boy. You know, he had to go do something. There was a situation over there close to home. I'm not going to go into details. I don't know what. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of y'all had heard about the detail, but they were having a vigil. And so he was going to attend that, which we completely understood and encouraged. So we'll see John next week. And Corbin has been wanting to do some tweaks on the show, and so he took yesterday and did that. Plus, also, we're trying to get our reach expanded, and one of those expansions is TikTok. And, of course, that is well out of my wheelhouse. So Corbin spent yesterday breaking down most of our videos into TikTok clips and stuff like that and started putting them out there on the TikTok. And so we're trying to build something here that, I mean, the bigger the footprint we make, to me, in my vision, it means more credentials sit in these seats over here. I want to be able to put people in these chairs that will educate us, they will benefit us, because to me there is way too much fluff going on. Hold on just one second. I see something that's annoying me and I got to stop it before I just stare at the whole show. Sorry about that. We had a pair of headsets, and as you can see, the seat cover right here, well, the headsets were popped over that right there, and I just look at it. It may not hurt it at all. I don't know, but in my mind, it's going to keep it in that shape. I don't know. I'm just weird that way. We did not spare one dime of John Gibson's money when we first started this. I walked in. You see right there, Gibson Service Company right there on the card, right down there, the G by my name. Walked in there and I told John Gibson, I said, sir, this is what we want to do. He believed in the vision. Right now, he's over at Main Street with the church camp kids. We had a wonderful service Wednesday night. They invited the church to come up there and enjoy the camp Wednesday night service with our church. And so anyway, he's down there having fun, probably about ready to come home and get some sanity because he's been around a whole bunch of kids. I've spent more than my share of time at the church camps. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So this week has been rather crazy. Corbin's sort of getting us prepped up and moved into the next phase of our expansion, and that was TikTok. And believe it or not, how many hours did you spend yesterday, Corbin, doing all this kind of stuff? He said 6 hours over there. And so so y'all go to the TikTok channel. It's VZTV, right, Corbin? Yeah, VZTV. Go look us up and give us a subscribe. We've got them all over. We share links on our Facebook page, I think, to get it direct you over to that. So anyway, y'all go check out our our TikTok page, our YouTube. Also, we were also trying to grow that when we first started this. Imagine we've got the app and we're trying to broadcast to Facebook, and we dabbled a little bit with YouTube when we first started, but we backed up. We focused on the Facebook because that's where our largest audience was. You got something to say, Bubba?
Yeah, you could look up Grant's Son and it'll pull it up, but the user under it is now GSS _ VZTV.
Oh, okay, there you go. So y'all go look that up. He's been doing a lot of work on that. We're trying to get this as well-rounded as we can. So no matter where you want to find VZTV and local content, you can find it there. But anyway, so I say all that to say this. We didn't have a guest today because like I said, it's just been crazy. But I wanted to come on here because we didn't have the show yesterday. We're going to have a little bit of a show today. We're not going to have a whole long show. I'd rather, if the content's not here, I'd rather come out here, talk to y'all, do certain things, let our ads run, and let you guys see that we're here every single day. Now, if you, Corbin, you got that face cam with my phone number on it. There we go. There's a telephone number right there. Now, I'll tell you what, guys, it goes to this cell phone right here. If you want to say something, text something, or do whatever, you give us a call, and y'all, and we will get you on the show. Maybe we can have a little conversation. We've talked a little bit about everything this past week, but anyway, and so I know that at least Main Street will be making their way back from church camp soon, so y'all drive safe, all of our praying audience. And I know it's not just because I was going through Canton and I saw one of their churches loading up a bus load going to camp, and so anyway, the highway is going to be crisscrossed with church buses running back and forth. This time of year is busy on the interstate, so let's keep our traveling campers and all that good stuff in your prayers and stuff like that. Anyway, so as we move on, Corbin, did you have any sports news? Was there anything big in sports that you wanted to bring up?
Shakur Stevenson was signed to Vztv Boxing. It's a new boxing league that was made by Dana White, and so it's just a UFC branch. And then other than that, France is still in it, beat Morocco. And Messi is still in it after a crazy comeback win. Other than that, LeBron's still not signed to a team, and it sounds like Cleveland's going to be the destination because Golden State Warriors have postponed the talks in the trade because LeBron wants, I think it's AD and his son to be on the team whenever he goes. So there's a lot of talks going around, and he's going to be actually signed under budget, underthrown from what it sounds like. He's going to go for like a lower contract instead of like the big contract that he'll be
underpriced.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All righty. Well, we got that going on in sports, and of course, the FIFA, they're working their way. I think we're down to the final 8 games, Bubba, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so they're getting close to wrapping up. So anyway, we've been on here for about 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and get to the meat of this. About the only thing I got for you today is going to be my smoke signal. So let's roll that, Corbin. I will come at you today, and I'm just going to be dead honest. You know what? I come in with a little bit of a pebble in my shoe. I keep talking every day I'm out amongst, and I do sales. Ad sales is the worst part of my whole job. I hate ad sales. I can't stand it. It is literally, if it was not the only thing that kept me bringing you news and stuff like that, I wouldn't do it. If I were someone like Trump, I'd do this for free, and I'd just foot it myself. But unfortunately, that's not the way it happens. And I go out and I do not regret Did we freeze or something, or it went dark? Oh, there it goes. Anyway, I do not regret going out and talking to shop owners. I regret the no's and having to go in there and ask for money, but I don't regret the conversations I have with these business owners and all the individuals I get to meet, because I get to talk when they find out I'm newspaper. They find out I have a channel like this. They always come to me and they always tell me their concerns. They'll go on about how much their property taxes are, their business taxes are. I've got one person that come at me and told me that there were people sitting on the property that surrounded them, and they got no foot traffic because the city didn't make them sell the property that surrounded them. And I mean, it seems like everywhere I go, people come to me and they see the newspaper as that solution. If you come out and you tell me, I mean, it's almost like the Catholic walking in and telling the padre about a sin. You know, they expect it to do something, you know, and we try to. We come out here, we have these honest conversations, we try our best to do so, but then it comes down time to support the cause of what we got going on. And mind you, my ads are not expensive. I've priced it to where my ads are, I mean, literally they start out at $100 a month, and that gets you a little card flip right over there on the side. You get it entry level at $100. And I go out there and I tried to price it where anybody and everybody, but it never fails. Everybody says, well, I don't have it in the budget. I don't have the money for it. I don't have it for this. I don't have it for that. And I mean, trust me, nobody likes a salesman. I don't like being a salesman, so I don't want to be that guy. But yesterday, and I'm not going to mention the business or nothing like that, but when I received my no, I was a little bit short, because it's been a bad few weeks. And I said, you know, if Van Zant's been good to you, I said, I think Van Zant deserves a little bit better from you. And I turned around and I walked away, and I got to thinking about something. My good, you know, a friend of the show, Keenan Colbert, come on his very first visit. I mean, very first introduction on the cameras. He said something that has stuck with me ever since. It says, words mean something. And that has stuck with me because, I mean, that meant something to me. I'm a man that makes my living, my bread and butter by the word. And I'm one of these people that, well, tell me if you're the kind of person that likes to be lied to. Nobody likes to be lied to. And yet we are the kind of person that today I watch podcasts all the time, and the going term is unalived. You know, you sit there and you watch, and you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube and you're on this, and the term unalived comes across the screen, and you know, and it's a really good term, you know, unalived himself, or he unalived this man. And I sit there as the man. I pay attention to what's being said. And now, don't get me wrong, I am well aware that the English language and language in general is an evolving species, and I know that it grows and it expands, and words sort of lose meaning and gain different meanings and all that stuff. But the purpose of the unalived term is so the censors don't get mad on the other side of the censorship board or wherever they can pull down messages. And I want to know, does using the term unalived make it any less dead? I mean, we sit there and we use these terms to candy coat certain actions, and yet we're explaining the same exact event. And we do it to soften the blow of bad things. And it makes me wonder, okay, we take and we have unalived the word dead. And so now we've moved into that because people can swallow that a little bit better. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, the medicine go down. I mean, are we going to sit there and literally say that we're going to unalive and it makes it better? Well, I sit there and I talk to these business owners and I talk to these people out on the street, and they sit there and they get mad and they get irritated about the government. Oh, I can't trust government. I don't like government. It looks like our live feed on Facebook ended anyway. But they get out there and they say that they don't like this, they don't like that. But yet when the guard dog, the watchdog in the community, the free press is out there trying to stay alive, and everybody knows my struggle. I'm in a small community, and everybody sees the struggle that we do to keep this thing relevant. I mean, literally just a year ago, less than 12 months ago, I was walking around with a pen and paper and a camera hanging around my neck. And even then, I didn't even have a big camera anymore. I just had the cell phone that was in my hand. And then now you come and you look at the product that we're putting out. It wasn't because we wanted to go broadcast. That was not my desire. I'm an enthusiast on the newspaper. I love journalism. I love the nostalgia of holding an actual paper rag in my hand and getting ink on my fingers. Nothing would make me happier than to go out there and slap a weekly rag back out on the counters of every grocery store in town and in the racks on every corner. But that was not supported, and it got down to one point where we had 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 ads in the paper. And 2 of them were in there because they just supported me because they've helped me out. Michael Lowe and Michael Lewis over at GSISD. Many a times we'd have shut the door and locked it if it hadn't been for them. And but they were in there every week and every week. But you can't run a paper consistently on 3 ads. I've always told that boy, he was a race car driver. And we could pull up videos and we could sit there and show you videos. Now, mind you, I'm the same idiot under the hood of that car as I am right here on the other side of this camera. So that boy did not have the best mechanic. He was not getting a Rick Hendrick machine because I was turning the wrenches. No, what he got was a man that was talking to everybody else that he knew, and they were helping me out getting it out there. And you can only imagine the product. And my buddies knew good, but they also had their own race cars, their own kids that were racing and all that stuff. So you can imagine what my son had to handle out there on that track. He'd go out there and he'd run a hot laps, and he'd come in there, Daddy, it's too loose, it's too loose, it's too loose. Well, son, the track's still wet. They just watered it. Go on out there. It is what it is. Let's go see what it does in the heat. He comes in there on the heat. Daddy, it's too loose. It's too loose. It's too loose. So we go out there and we make an adjustment, and then he goes out there and he says, it's too tight. It's too tight. It's too tight. Well, the next thing I have to tell him is, son, you got the car you got. It's up to you to drive it. Well, we as a nation sit here with an English language, and we use that language to convey precepts, concepts, warnings, news, ideas. And if we lose the basis of that language, then what do we have in our hands? Same thing as if we take and we remove the free press. What do you have? Fundamentals in society need to start being adhered to. Because if you take away the free press from society, you've got, look at what the government already does right underneath your nose with cameras everywhere. And yet we just don't look as if we're worried about that here locally, as if the free press just goes away. And then all of a sudden, once the free press is gone, the politicians are just going to start behaving. You look at the toxicity of 24-hour media, and this has always been one of my biggest strands, is the toxicity of 24-hour media. They take these politicians, and they do nothing but defend them. They're an O-line for each one of these politicians, and it's party specific. Well, now you've got a public that believes whatever that football team, that political team pushes down their throat. Words no longer mean anything. I have conversations. I had one earlier with a person, and I was sitting there talking to them, and we were going back and forth, and I was offering ad services to them. I gave them the clear price structure of what the ads were, And then I go and I present it to them, and they wanted more, but they didn't want to pay for it. And I said, okay, well, I can work with you like that. So you go and they see how much they get from you, and then they cut it out. So now, you know what? Better yet, just no. After already agreeing to one level, words no longer mean anything to these people. Facebook, you look at it, words no longer mean anything to people because they sit out there and they just say them just out and out. I mean, you see it. No matter where the camera's at, they're lies, manipulation. Words are not meant to carry any purpose anymore other than to fulfill a certain agenda. One of the things I brought up in one of my talk conversations the other day was about I was told by someone that I feel to be an educated man said everybody's media. And it was a swipe at me. I knew what it was. It was a swipe at my credibility because, well, we were having a little debate back and forth, and he said, well, Bert, he said everybody's media today, and I said, is that what you really believe? Now, don't get me wrong, the public should watch their overseers. Government of, for, and by the people. That means you are responsible for keeping your eyes open and your cameras peeled if there is a government official out there in public doing something. But there is a difference in being someone with a camera that could go up and get in somebody's face and say some inflammatory things, and the person that takes and presents the truth of the matter, the fact of the matter. You can see, you go on TikTok all day long, you go on Facebook all day long, you go on YouTube all day long. You can watch them anywhere from 15 seconds to 2 hours of videos. And it will tell you how you should feel. And every bit of video evidence that they show you and release over to you is to lead you in one direction, like you're a little dog, like you're on a leash. And when they get you to that point, they get you irate. They get you, and most people, once they get irate, once they get passionate about something, they're not going to sway their opinion. They will fight to the death. Those people are not beholden to not lying to you. They carry their cameras around. Oh, yeah, I'm a first amendment, yeah. They're not doing nothing but disruption. They're not doing nothing but tainting the word of journalists. Now, don't get me wrong. I want them to have the right to do that. I've said this multiple times. I want you to have the right and the ability to be up there and do that. Now, do I agree with you actually carrying that out? No. Because I'm afraid some of you don't have the freaking brain power it takes to understand that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you start doing certain actions that spawn a reaction, who's the one that is going to be hindered? The truth tellers. I do not delete stuff off of my Facebook page. I don't go incognito for months on end because I pissed somebody off or because I was wrong. I come on this show, I tell you I was wrong, I write a correction in my paper, and I say, hey, guys, I'm an idiot. Because that's how I get credibility. Not being wrong, but by admitting I was wrong. Admitting I don't know everything, but I'm just like you, and I'm out here trying to find the truth. Well, if we're going to sit around, I've said it before, with our heads in the sand, then you know what that exposes? You might as well drop trowel and lube it up, baby, because they going to take care of it. If you got your hand in the sand and your ass towards the air, don't think the ne'er-do-wells aren't going to come in there and spank it. You sit there and you feed that guard dog, that pit bull, that Rottweiler, that German Shepherd, that Chihuahua, that poodle, whatever you got running around your house to let you know when the bad guy walks in the door. You feed that dog every day to make sure that dog's got the energy to go bark, 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 when it's a real criminal. You sit there and feed that dog when he goes bark, 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 and there ain't no criminal. It's just the mailman driving down the road or a fly going by or they heard your phone ding dong. I got a Chihuahua. I got a deaf, and I want to give a shout out to Jade. We love you, baby. Our chocolate lab. She's sitting there sniffing at the big dog park in the sky right now. She's on her last days. That girl would sit there and bark at nothing just to get the rest of the dogs riled up. But I got dogs, so that way, number one, as a deterrent, because if I got them dogs in my front yard and some old crackhead's walking down that road, he says, oh, he got dogs. That's probably not the wise house to go to because, number one, I wouldn't be able to make a silent entry. I feed them dogs for that reason. I make sure them dogs, even though they peed on my carpet and pooped on my on the bottom of my shoes because I was walking out there in the yard, I still feed them dogs. I don't need them every single day, but guess what? When that old bad guy comes grabbing the doorknob and starts jiggling that doorknob and here's 4 dogs come at the door, they're going to let go of that doorknob and say, no, that's probably not a wise move. Them guns that you got in your safe, you sit there. You better be oiling them, greasing them, staying in practice with them. You don't need that big old hand cannon you got sitting right next to your recliner in that lazy boy that you ain't touched in 20 years, but it's been there the whole time. You may not need it, but you want it there when that bad boy comes in and he starts trying to take advantage of your life, liberty, or your family. Well, just remember this. If the media is doing their job right, the integrity and trustworthiness is there. You can't say that for someone that's only showing you portions of a video, giving you part of the conversation, so you'll come up to a targeted output. Opinion, perception, passion. Then you go arguing about it, and the whole time you're wrong. When I go in, the free press no longer has the admiration and respect of the public. Now, I will tell you this. Elected officials do. You see them in my seat all the daggum time. And I can tell you, they respect me. And even the ones that don't behave and they won't come on my show, they respect me. There's a reason why they respect me, because the First Amendment has been our biggest gun in our arsenal for the longest time. Oh, Judge Kirkpatrick, loved that man to death. He used to always tell me when I'd walk in the room, he was always told, never pick a fight with a man that buys ink by the barrel. And I always laughed at it, because I don't look at myself as that kind of fella. I'm not bulletproof vest. I'm not that guy. I don't walk in. I walk in, try to walk in and treat everybody with a handshake and a smile, and let's talk. But that kind of respect did not come overnight, and it wasn't me that got that respect. It was respect of the free press that helped our nation make it 250 years. I believe the reason why we're seeing the discord and the distrust and the division that we have in our society today is because the free press has been sleeping. My mama and daddy, everybody knows I'm a preacher's kid, and I've always heard the world's as bad off as it is because the church was sleeping. Well, and I agree with that, but I also say this. We've got a system that has been set up that was devised for and by the people. And unfortunately, I do not believe that it is for the people anymore. Now, I still say it's by the people. Well, you get what you get. You can't throw a fit. There's other terms like that, FAFO. Stupid games, stupid prizes. You put people out there that don't have your best regard into there, and you're doing it by the vote, every single vote. You can't say you didn't do it. Every single vote puts them in there. So yeah, it is. You're doing this all to yourself. I brought it up to Mr. Kenny Williams the other day when we were sitting there talking. And he brought up, the Muslim faith and all that, and we started talking about Sharia law because the right is really worried about Sharia law coming in here and replacing our traditional laws and rules of society. And I said that there is a scenario in this whole batch of scenarios. There is one that plays out to where freedom of speech and freedom of religion makes a full circle, and then before you know it, it falls right in front of your constitutional right to have freedom of religion. Because if what the right says is true, and it goes to that extreme when we can look at certain Islam and Muslim-controlled countries, and we can see how it works with their country, there is a scenario that plays off like that. And if that is so, then the Democratic Party and those such as the LGBTQ alphabet soup group, they want to play all that, throw it all in there together. They can literally work it out and play the chess cards to where they literally put the snare around their own ankle. Now, is that how it's going to play? Me personally, I don't believe Jesus is going to tarry that long. Now, that's just my point of view. I think we looking at the signs of the end times, but you know what? That's just dumb old Bert. But what I'm saying right now, let's say barring the rapture or anything hostile takeover, we better start thinking about a way to where we can get words to mean something again. When we do business with our neighbor, we're honest with a handshake. That word meant something. When we say we want to tackle something and we want to tackle an issue, we want to tackle a deficit, we want to tackle a future goal, words mean something. Let's use wording that is certain. Let's get back to where everything said meant something. I'm so sick and tired of words not meaning anything. We used to call it a lie. We used to call it manipulation, falsehoods, fabrications. At one point in time, a person's pants caught on fire if they got caught doing stuff like that. And now everything's invented, redefined, and it's in real time. What I said then doesn't make now a lie, because in real time I adjusted to my certain devised situation. I have seen real life play out. If you've got kids, you've seen it yourself. I'll do this if you do this for me. So you do it for them, and then when it comes time to them to fulfill their obligation, I'm sick, I'm doing something, I'm busy, I got this, I got that. I didn't lie, I didn't know, I didn't have nothing going on then, but I didn't know this was going to happen. My buddy just asked me about 4 minutes ago, right after you reminded me that I was supposed to do that he wanted me to go to the lake with him. Truth is no longer being perceived as honest. They believe they're telling the truth in that situation because their friend did call them up 4 minutes ago after they texted them and said, "Hey, I'm bored. Mama's wanting me to clean the house." Okay, well, I'm not like, look, I'll show you the text. But they're not being honest because they weren't honest when they said, "Hey, I'll do this." Used to, when you said, "I'm going to do something," you adjusted your calendar to accommodate that. When we get back to telling each other the truth in society, when we get into supporting each other in society, maybe those fellers up there on Capitol Hill start being a reflection of that kind of behavior. But until we start respecting each other, how are we going to expect them to respect us? We don't even respect ourselves. I get irritated because it seems like we're willfully and just blindly walking right down the path that's leading to the big old sign that says "Do not enter." We can't say the signs aren't here. The line of logic is even pretty common sense. We sit there and we talk about taxes and tariffs. Well, my day one in economics was there is no free lunch. That means if somebody's giving you a free lunch, somebody else paid for it, even if it is the supplier himself. If you have to train it all the way back to the butcher and the cat and the farmer that raised it, somebody paid for that. And anytime we start talking about rules, regulations, laws, amendments, realize every action costs, and there's going to be administrations and all this good stuff. If you have a tariff that brings it across, the U.S. company that gets that tariff isn't going to sit there and say, well, you know what, I'm just going to eat it. No, that's going to go up. If you tariffing the guy across the pond, well, what he charges the guy on this side of the pond is going to include that tariff in there, so that way when this guy gets it on this side of the pond and he starts cutting it up, it's microdosed into the consumer pricing. You see it. You know it. You live it. You know that if you have to give a friend a ride to Dallas, you're the one that's going to have to put that gas back in that car. The good deed ain't going to put the bubbles back in the vroom vroom. Everything we look at, every law we make takes away a right. It may not have been a good right, but until that law was stamped, it was a perceived right. Now ask yourself, how many times do our legislators take laws off the books? Very seldom. They always stacking it on, but they ain't taking nothing off. Now, I want you to know, every one of those limitations that are put on you and your liberty, it's eating away at your freedom. So anytime that we want something to pass, don't want something to pass, or put somebody in the office that's going to pass something that's going to affect my daily life, let's be sure we know who we're putting in there. And I want those people to believe what Keenan Colbert said the first time he was on this couch. Words mean something. When we start saying words that mean something, then when those guys up there tell me I'm going to go up there and address this in society, his word means something. As a society, if our words do not mean anything, you ain't going to have no relationships that are worth anything, nothing of value, because value isn't experienced in the best of times. The value's in the worst of times. As I told you, we've got a friend over here that's dealing with some of the most imaginable circumstances in the world. I couldn't even imagine going through to that degree. We all support. We all hang around. We all care for each other. We all look out for the common good. We need to do that to the total stranger. We need to get that more back going into the fundamental foundations of kindness in our community, and that takes consideration instead of just knee-jerk reactions. Let's start considering, what does my action, how is that going to affect their life and the trajectory of their life? I don't drop somebody's name willy-nilly in the newspaper. Not my gig. Because I know that when I put their name on there, their face hits on this show, it can be life-changing. I'm not saying that I got big influence, nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying my name has been in the newspaper. You don't get the rap sheet I got without having my name in the newspaper a few times myself. But I'll put my own in here a couple times. You don't do that without consideration. Because that name has got a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, a church member. Generally, it comes back around to somebody, because I've been around here so long, somebody I know. So I know the moment I drop his name in there, I'm going to get a call. I'm going to be told, how you do me a favor, man, because everybody thinks I'm their buddy. Hey, buddy, hey, why don't you take that name out of that paper? Take that picture right off that internet. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Nope. That's not what I do. Words mean something, and when I put something out there, I put a post out there, that's my word that I'm not going to pull it down. I have integrity. because I want to be the watchdog that keeps that politician at his word. And I can't hold that politician at his word if I'm waffly on mine. So this has been a pretty long monologue, but like I said, Miss Katie's back over there. She's not feeling too good. We had no guest today, and Corbin looked at me and said, Daddy, I ain't got much of nothing. He was out with his friend last night. They played Monopoly. I said, Bubba, next time you go out with your friend on the night before the show, maybe not play Monopoly. Let's try to maybe Connect Four. You know, that he ain't playing until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. No, he does a great job. And like I said, y'all see the activity he done. So thank you, Bubba, for everything you do. Thank you for the sports and all that. And I'm going to say thank you guys for being a part of the show. Yeah, it's 46 minutes. I'm sure I gave Corbin plenty of content to clip, but mainly I want to say it's our good buddy Richard Schmidt. He wrapped up his little segment and he said, don't be a butthole. Well, that's exactly what I say to you too. Don't be a butthole. Oh. Hello, baby. She was texting me. I had to get my wife's text. Sorry about that. When my wife texts, I answer. Anyway, but basically, yeah, as Richard Smith said, don't be a butthole. I mean, you know what your actions are. You know what your actions say. You know what your actions would be perceived if you were the one on the receiving end. How you would perceive them yourself. It doesn't take some introspective philosopher to be able to figure out how to be nice, how to be a man of your word, a woman of your word, and realize that when you say something, words mean something. If you know somebody for a minute and you catch them in a moment of slipping up or something like that, don't just write them off. Years of bonding should not be erased over one thing. Well, none of us are perfect. We've all fallen and come short of the glory of God. And if we've come short of the glory of God, just imagine how far short we do our friends and family that are down here that we betray every day and not even mean to. So let's be kind, be understanding. And like I said, it's the weekend. Smell the roses. Have fun. Let's go ahead and throw the lunch specials up there really quick, Corbin. We got the blue chip chili bowl and a drink and a scoop. It is going to be amazing. Anyway, y'all go down the tracks right there next to the train tracks. If you coming in from Van in Grand Saline, you'll see the mural on the wall. It's the home of the two salty brides. It's 100 North Main Street. And also go up there, they got the dirty sodas and the pup cups. So while you're in there, I want to point out old Keenan Colbert's ad in there. He paid to have that spot in there, and I want to thank him for supporting the show. He's been on here a couple times. Got beat up pretty good last time. Matter of fact, I sold that ad to him for about half price because we beat him up pretty good on that last show with me and Ryan. And I want to give a shout out to the Just Smoke and Vape over in Canton. They are always on and making sure. Guys, oh yeah, Grand Slice. Forgot about Grand Slice. I sold Grand Slice out there. Grand Slice, two large for $20 over there. Y'all be sure and go check them out. Right between Brookshire's and Family Dollar. Did we have anything? Oh yeah, did you get that up by John? Yeah, John rang our buddy, said, well, oh yeah, that one too. August 8th, 2026, the East Texas Heroes is going to be honoring veterans, and they're going to have car show, military show. They're going to have car swap meet. There's a gun show a couple days before. Anyway, it's going to be a really good event all day long. We're going to be out there live. Our buddy Phil Smith, who comes in and tells us local veteran stories, is going to be out there. There's going to be a Jeep out there that's got signatures on it. Y'all just go check it out. It's going to be a good event. August 8th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Y'all stop by the VZTV TV. We're going to have things to give away, and we're going to be just saying hi to everybody. We're going to have an empty chair, so if you want to jump in and be a part of the broadcast, you can come on board. So anyway, y'all come out there August 8th. Also, Red Friday. Remember everyone deployed. They served, we support. They come home. That's my buddy John Ring, walkforvets.org. He posted that on Wood County now. I told Corbin I wanted to be sure and get that out there because, guys, I say this. If it wasn't for the footprints on the battlefield, the blood spilt out there, the reality is you cannot unalive the sacrifice that these men made. They died on that battlefield. They gave their lives, took their last breath so I could be here, so you could be there, and we ain't got to worry about some tyrant busting through that door. When I sit there and I call both of the major parties in power idiots, Republicans and Democrats, I call one of them a donkey and one of them a jackass. When I can sit there and say that is Bert Rex Fight right here on camera and reach 67 countries and have over 10,000 unique views on this channel alone, plus 24,800 followers on Facebook. When I can do that and I ain't got to worry about a SWAT team, I can walk out that door with my chest puffed out, just as proud for calling them stupid as anybody out there. And that's because of a soldier. That's because of a whole lot of soldiers. That's because of a whole band of soldiers that have spanned the generations all the way back to the founding of this country 250 years ago, guys. I live every day in the freedom that they blessed me with. And I thank God above for giving men the courage and the balls to take rifle to battlefield and stand up so Bert Rex Fight can stand here today and call our ruling elite idiots and call for change. Guys, we ain't playing around no more. This ain't chess and checkers. What we talking about is our rights, our liberties, and our quality of life. And I'm telling you right now, it's about like juggling with eggs. One slip up and you got sticky toes because the egg done broke when it fell. We are in a time where we can either fortify our freedom and stand up to the mistruth, start using words that mean something, and start saying sentences that we stand behind, or we can continue and let the elected elite have their way. Again, I go back to, if you've got your head in the sand, what's facing the sun? Do not think politicians won't get you at your most vulnerable point. Don't be a butthole. Pull your head out of the sand. Be aware. And if you see me coming in, even if you don't buy an ad, say thank you for what you do. Sometimes I get discouraged thinking this is a waste. I know it ain't. I believe in my First Amendment. I believe in what I do. But I will say this, you can ask anybody that's involved in this industry. Sometimes when you see the willful ignorance of the masses, it's really hard to continue fighting for them. But I know it's worth the fight, and I know that their ignorance is because they are well protected. They don't have to see the struggles on the battlefield that the soldier goes through. They don't have to see all the crap that the journalists and the freedom fighters out here and behind the pen and keyboards and broadcast cameras go through. They pick and choose what little nuggets and hors d'oeuvres of daily news they want to eat, and they ingest. Well, I remember Brother Jerry Truitt, one of my pastors, love him to death. He used to say something that really stuck home with me. He said, garbage in, garbage out. And that always stuck in, when he'd bring it up. If you put bad gas in a car, the exhaust is going to be rough. It's not going to run right. It's not going to tune right. It's going to spit, sputter, and backfire. And guys, right now, we got a little bit of fuel, a little bit of water in our politics. We backfiring as a country. We missing. It ain't hitting on all cylinders right. Let's do some routine maintenance on those up there on Capitol Hill. Let's change them out. Let's get some fresh tires on this country, and let's see if we can make it another 250. And that's all I got to say from Bert Fight. We'll see you next time on VZTV.